Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be getting information from the Streamflow Prediction Tool API. I will be doing that with Python 3 and in a Jupyter notebook. A similar process can be used in Python 2 or other programming languages though. So to get this information, we're going to use the requests module in Python. The request module gets information through HTTP protocols. And specifically, we're going to use request.get. For that method, we're going to need to provide three things: a URL, a list of parameters, and header information. In this case, our URL is going to be the URL of the Streamflow Prediction Tool. So that'd be the host, wherever it's at, and that followed by the name of the app, followed by API, and then the specific method that you're going to be getting information for. So that one will depend on each of them, but they will all have the same base URL. So I've gone ahead and listed that here. We're also going to need to give it some parameters, which are criteria that the method is going to use. That's going to be information like the name of the watershed, the subbasin, and the reach ID. If you don't know those already ahead of time, you can get them by going to the Streamflow Prediction Tool and getting them yourself. I'll demonstrate that here. So I went to the Tethys portal. I'm going to go to my list of apps, and then I'll find the Streamflow Prediction Tool, and then I'll find the watershed. Let's go to Argentina here, and here's my map all loaded, and if I zoom in, here's some streams. Let's say I'm interested in this one, and when I click on it, this pop-up box shows me some statistical information. There's a hydrograph. But what we're interested in this part right here under the forecast, it's got the name of the watershed, the name of the subbasin, and the reach ID listed right here. So if you don't know ahead of time the specific name of the watershed and so forth, you can find it in the Streamflow Prediction Tool itself. And so I've listed those here as an example. And then third, we're going to need to provide some header information, and in this case that's going to be an authorization token. Since your code can't log in for you using your username and password, we'll give it an authorization token instead. And if you don't know that, that can also come from Tethys portal. So I'll go back, and up in the top right after you've logged in, you can go to your user settings page. And under the user settings, there's going to be an API key and token listed. So we copy and paste that into your code. This part right here is what we're interested in. That is your API token. And I've already pasted that into the code here. And that is all the prep work we're going to have to do, so I can go ahead and execute that cell. So there are 6 methods that you can use with the Streamflow Prediction Tool API. The first is called get watersheds, and you're going to store all of these requests as objects. So I've listed this as watersheds as my object equals request.get, and then you're going to just pass it those criteria that we've already used. The URL in this case, that's the base plus the name of the method, and then the get watersheds method does not take any parameters, so I don't need to give it any, but I do need to give it the header information. And then the next 3 all follow the exact same pattern: get historic data, get available dates, and get return periods. All are going to need the URL, of course. They all need the same 3 parameters that we listed in our dictionary before, and they will all also need our header information, which is the authorization token. The last 2 require some specific parameters. For the get warning points method, you're going to need to specify the return period. That can be either 2, 10, or 20 years. So I've listed 2, and I created a new dictionary key for that criteria. And after that, it's the same process. Request.get, give it the URL with the method name, the parameters, and the authorization token. And then get forecast also needs some unique parameters. They want the forecast folder, the stat type, and you can also specify a return type, but all 3 of those have defaults. So if you don't list any of them, you'll still get information, but if you would like to be more specific, you can get just what you're interested in by specifying them in your parameter dictionary. So I've gone ahead and listed 2 there. Alright, so since the 3 cells where I've made my request all executed, I know it got the information, but how can I be sure that it got exactly what I wanted? Well, there's a couple ways. First is the requests module lets you print out the URL that it used. So I can print out the URL by saying print the name of the object, example watersheds.url, and I can visually confirm that it used the right URL. It's got the same base that I specified before, plus the name of the method, so that's correct. I could also open up this URL in a new page, and it's listed all of the watersheds just as I would have expected. So now I've checked the URL and gone to the URL and visited what information it has listed there. I can also print out that information that was stored in the object to see if it got the same information as was listed in the web page. So if I use the print watersheds.text, I can view that same information there. And I could do the same thing for any of the 5 other methods. Suppose I wanted to check the forecast. I could print forecast.url, and there's the URL. See, it has the same base, the name of the method, and then it's got all of the parameters that we gave it listed here. And if I follow that link, here's the information I should expect to be in my code. Looks like some header information of some kinds, followed by a time series of information. So I'll go back to my code, and I can print forecast.text to see if that information got stored in my object. And it looks like it did. There's some header information here, and if I scroll down, there's the time series of information. So after checking, I can be sure that my code executed as I wanted. It got the information that I wanted it to, and then depending on what you're trying to do with this information in your code, you can filter through it, extract certain things, copy certain things, whatever you need to do. If you need more information on the requests module or on the methods and parameters that you can use with the Streamflow Prediction Tool API, there will be links provided in the description to this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.